hi, this is Maya from the Worldwide Good News, and I have one of the directors and the editor of May I Be Frank, a wonderful collaborative movie about transforming Frank, this amazing guy who started at one point of the journey sad and wanted to change, and ended up on the other with the help of an amazing community around him, completely transformed. Hi Greg, how are you doing?
Hi. Fantastic.
Great.
Glad to be here.
Glad to have you here. So tell me a little bit about the whole story behind May I Be Frank. I mean, I say it a lot. I live next to Café Gratitude now, and Café Gratitude is the pinnacle of this movie. It's what actually sparked it, right? So can you tell me a little bit about the background? And
yeah, well, I mean, the quick version would be that, you know, Frank is a 300-pound, 54-year-old Italian from Brooklyn, New York, with a lifetime of addiction and in drugs and alcohol, and everything that comes with that. So, you know, bad relationships, hepatitis C from shooting heroin, crime, you know, being put in jail, suicidal attempts, things like that. And he comes out to California to sort of reinvent himself, and he stumbles into Café Gratitude, and he meets these three, you know, 20-something vegan hipster guys that immediately can tell that there's a cry for help, that here's a man. And even though he's carrying all this stuff with him, and he was 300 pounds, and he was angst, and so, you know, they could see his heart. They could see right through it, and they saw that there was this gentle, beautiful man underneath. And, you know, basically they had been kicking around this idea of doing some sort of project that was the opposite of Super Size Me, where they take some guy who's unhealthy, and they basically, you know, give him raw food and spiritual practice and you know, help him get well. And when he walked in, I think they just knew, wow, this is the guy. You know? And of course, because there was such a, it was such a opposite of who they were. They thought it was, wow, this is perfect. It'll be really interesting. He's the opposite of us. We're the opposite of him. But ultimately, I think they were just, you know, really wanting to give more of what they had to offer, and they weren't feeling fulfilled. And Frank also wasn't feeling. He was feeling he was about to give up, you know. And so I think the universe sort of brought them together, sort of to introduce them to each other, because they each wanted something, and it was a perfect prayer. It was a perfect answer to their prayers, you know.
That's such a great story. I mean, I saw photos of Frank after, and like especially now, and he's gorgeous. Like, you know, he really looks like a movie star. There's some photos there, and I'm like, wow. And he's been going around with the film, and you've been going around with the film, and the film was also very, very supported by Café Gratitude itself as a gift to the world. And the beauty about Café Gratitude in what it preaches is just give of yourself, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, from day one, what was beautiful about the owner is Matthew and Tirsi, and Ryland and Cary being each one of their sons, was that they were really excited and you know, wanted them. They were excited about them doing the film. They were excited about the project, but instead of them just like handing over money and going, here's a lot of money, make the film, do it your way. They really chose a different route. They said, you know, we want to empower you to empower yourselves. So they really rooted them on, and you know, and of course they helped out, and they donated some money, and they helped with food at the restaurant, you know, during the 42 days, and they also, you know, gave us access to their email list and things like that. But for the most part, they wanted to see all of us, all 5 of us, like step into something larger than we thought we could do. And you know, so instead of giving it to us on a platter, they just rooted us on. And of course they gave it themselves selflessly. If you give selflessly, it'll come back to you tenfold. And now that the film is out there and we're touring, it's amazing. Now people are going to Café Gratitude because they saw the film. They're buying workbooks. They're entering the workshops, and you know, it's really beautiful that, you know, we have this symbiotic relationship where they gave to us and we're giving to them, and it's just this flow.
Yeah, it's so beautiful, because really going to Café Gratitude for so many years, there's so many things that resonate about their philosophy in life, that you're beautiful, that you're worth it, and really empowering people by so many ways. I mean, just the place itself, I mean, it's all affirmations, and it's all it's all good food and it's all holistic and it's all almost, they have a little farm update here, and so all of it is so holistic. And then the story is so holistic. It's all about giving and not wanting anything for yourself. It's all about, what if I just selflessly just give away because I can do it.
Well, and what's amazing about this whole project is that every element of it came from an affirmation and came from giving. So, Frank was at a place in his life where he was sick and tired of being sick and tired. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know how, but he wanted help. His affirmation was, I need help. I want to be better. I want to be healthy. I want a great life. And the guy's affirmation was, we have so much to give. We need someone to give it to. We want to help someone. And my affirmation, because I wasn't here from the first moment. I was in New York, and I had just got into editing and doing film, and I wasn't very happy with, the culture in New York in that area. And my affirmation was, I want to move to San Francisco. I love it there, and I want to make meaningful films that touch people. And so, the universe answered all of our affirmations, and it's really important. That's an important part of the message of this film is really say it out loud. Really know what you want and say it, and know that there's another person out there ready to answer that affirmation that you have. And the other part is, the giving and receiving, and the holisticness of how it all came together, and even the tour. When we tour this film now, it's a holistic tour. We're self-distributing the film, and we're literally going from town to town to town. We're playing it in theaters and yoga studios and whoever will have us. And the reason it's holistic is because what we do is we make sure that at every screening there's 5 to 10 holistic practitioners from that area present in the audience, so that the audience gets to see these invisible people. And anyone that sees the film usually wants to start their transformation right away. I want to change this part of myself. I want to change that part. And we make sure that there's people in the audience that can immediately help them with that. So the audience feels taken care of. The holistic practitioners get new clients. We're taken care of because, we get to show the film and spread the message, and it's also financially becoming very sustainable. And so we feel like every aspect has been holistic, and we're going to continue to be holistic about it. We've had offers to distribute the film in a traditional way, where it would just open in theaters and it would show for a month and then it would just disappear, and we didn't feel that was very holistic. We wanted to support the audiences who have questions about the film after they're done, and hey, what can I do? So for the next 6 to 9 months, we will tour with it, and sell DVDs at the shows, and eventually we will go public with the DVD and Netflix and things like that. But for now, we feel it's really important that people come together in community to witness the film. There's something powerful about coming together in the theater with like-minded people and having that discovery together.
That's so beautiful, and it's so powerful, because this is exactly what the world needs right now. Real community building, real sustainability. We're depleted right now. The world is depleted, and you're actually bringing the whole group is bringing a different way of doing business, basically. You're being, actually read Sacred Commerce.
That's exactly what we're doing.
And which is Triss's and Matthew's book, and it's really about that. It's not about what's my end result. It's about what kind of a community do I want to live in, and then going and seeking that kind of community. And World Like This News is kind of that on a internet scale. It's like what kind of stories do I want to see in the world, and then what kind of people and what people need to be known to the world. And here you're sitting here because I want my viewers to know about you. I want them to know that there's hope, that there's people who are doing that. And also, if they live in any of the cities that you're going to go to, they can go and have that experience for themselves.
And that's what's amazing about this process, is that, people like you are asking us to come up here, and it's a result of us practicing sacred commerce. Because when you practice sacred commerce, you inspire people. You don't force them, you don't manipulate them. In the traditional model that's out there in any type of business, they shovel millions of dollars into advertising for one purpose only: to convince you to buy their product or go to their show. but it's not the same as inspiring you, triggering something in your body that says, I have to see that, I have to own that. There's a difference, and in this new paradigm way of being, which I think everyone is really starting to get, there's no need to manipulate people anymore. It's all about inspiring, you know. And simply put, sacred commerce is a very simple concept which has been around since the beginning of time, which is when you're out there doing whatever you're doing, you're making sure that everyone involved is taken care of. No one is being neglected, and everyone feels fulfilled at the end of the day. You know, and we're doing our best. I mean, you know, we're humans, so that doesn't always follow through. But the intention is to make sure that everyone involved in this process is taken care of and feels fulfilled in their role in it.
That's so amazing. I mean, that's putting the intentionality for that is the first step, and then just letting it unfold is also part of it. Is letting it go, not having to control everything, and you know, letting that community create itself, the energy create itself, which is very law of attraction, which I know you're very familiar, and you're also making a film about, but not in the traditional way, but more really in the holistic way.
Right. And you know, control. If anyone stops and just asks himself for a second, when I need to control things, or when I'm controlling things, how does that feel? Does that actually feel good? Is your body actually blissed out and happy? No, it's usually there's this tenseness, this anxiety comes whenever we're trying to control any aspect of our life. And for temporarily, it gives us a sense of safety, but in the end, we're always anxious because something could go wrong and we're not in control anymore. So yeah, when you let go of that control and you get more into the trusting your intuition, trusting yourself, and trusting others, not only do you get better results, but you don't have the anxiety. You actually have more joy in your heart, and the more you do it, the more amazing things happen. And that's pretty much what my next film is about. That's
great. Can you talk a little bit about it?
Sure. The film is the working title right now is called Out of Thin Air, and anyone who's familiar with The Secret or Law of Attraction, it's based in that. However, and you know, not knocking those films because they were very powerful in introducing a concept and a true law that exists in the universe to the general public. But like anything else, you know, most Americans especially are really strong in their individual belief systems, and whenever something like that comes along and they're being preached to and just being told about a concept, it's hard for them to really grasp it. So what I want my film to do is show real life, everyday people who decided that they wanted to take on this practice, which is free, and it really just takes you letting go of what you've been taught and really believing that you can make a miracle happen and you can attract miracles into your life. Whether it might be money, it might be a loved one, it might be a romantic partner, it might be a job, you know, and really, you know, I've met so many people in the last 4 years that are doing this, and within 24 hours of saying something out loud, they get a phone call or they get something in the mail that represents that. And I really want to make this film also because we're also in a place in society where we're so reliant on others. We're so dependent on companies and government and advertisers and products to make our lives better, to make us happy, or this false sense of happiness. And when things don't go well in that way in society, like, you know, let's say the recession, all of a sudden we don't have a job anymore, and we lost all our savings because we were truly dependent on something else to give us that.
Yeah.
And what this movie will show people is that you don't need that. That, you know, while we're waiting for governments to change and society to change to really come back to supporting community and human nature and quality of life, you can take it into your own hands.
Yeah.
And without anything other than your imagination and your pure love and heart and your intention, you can create the opportunities you never imagined. Yeah. Yes, and there's an illusion out there that only some people can do that, or some people have these powers, and it's not true because it's not a power. It's actually just like the law of gravity exists. If I let go of this cup, it'll fall on the floor. Well, the law of attraction is always going on, whether you believe it or not. Whether you're, It's not the same as gravity, where you can physically see the proof, and we're proof-based human beings. Where if we can see it, then all of a sudden we believe it.
Yeah.
This is something that's invisible, but it does exist, and it's been scientifically proven that it exists.
Yeah.
And so just to stop for a second and go, okay, so whether I believe it or not, it's always happening. Why don't I tap into it? And you don't have to be smart. You don't have to be, there's no qualification other than the one thing that we all have, a heart. We all know how to love, we all know how to dream, we all know how to fantasize, and we all know how to visualize, and that's all it takes. Anyone can do it.
Yeah, anyone can do it. And just for people who think, well, I'm sad and depressed, I can't do it. Well, I used to be sad and depressed, and then I made a conscious choice to not be sad and depressed, and to attract positive people into my life, to attract my change, and it happened. And so, and Frank, just let himself go, and he believed that he can do it, and it happened. Yes, he had a community helping him, but he had to believe that he could do it.
And that's a great point. His transformation took place because he let go of the things that, that he was conditioned to believe his whole lifetime, because he realized, hey, if those things actually worked, my life would be great right now. And my life isn't great right now, so I have to abandon what I've learned. And that's really hard. A lot of people have, most of us have pride, and we don't want to admit that what we've been doing our whole lives, because we've committed time and energy, hasn't worked. And we don't want to abandon it and learn something new. However, there comes a pinnacle moment where we're just tired of negative things happening, and we realize, all right, I give up. I'll try it. I'll try anything. Just get me out of this. And what goes along with that is that the law of attraction is, simply put, you will attract to you what the same thing that you have going on inside you. So whatever your inner landscape is, you will attract it. So if you're sad and depressed long periods of times, you will attract external things to you that support that concept, that support that way of being. If you're happy and joyful and you have positive thoughts and you think, I'm going to get a great job, then you'll attract that too. And that's another concept that people have a hard time with, because then all of a sudden we're accountable for our experience. And that's not something that, at least in America, we're not taught.
No, accountability is not taught.
Yeah, it used to be taught, I think, and now we're getting further and further away from accountability, and where, we actually have a company that does things for us, don't worry about that, just pay us $20 a month and we'll worry about that for you, and that's, go to Best Buy and buy a flat screen TV for $2,000. If you don't like it in 30 days, we'll give you your money back. No strings attached. So all of a sudden, consequence goes out the window. So now I can go out and be irresponsible. I can buy a TV that I can't afford, use it for 30 days, bring it back, and no harm done, right? But in the long run, what that's teaching us is that it's somebody else's fault. If we're having a bad day, it's someone else's fault. It's the guy who cut me off in line. It's but really what it is it's us. And once we can get back to owning that our experiences, bad and good, have to do with our thoughts, our choices, then we can start actually having control over our own experience. And not control like that, but just know that we are powerful beings, and if I want to have a great day, I can. And it doesn't matter what just happened 5 minutes ago. I can still have a great day,
Because it's now, and that's a great tip.
Now, and it's actually my choice.
And that's a great tip for people to just start, acknowledge that you're the creator of your path and your own reality, take responsibility for that, and then make the conscious choice. What am I going to do in the next 5 minutes? And what do I want to be remembered for when I die? Because nobody's going to have a headstone that says he loved working a lot and his house was really pretty. Well,
that's the other illusion too, is that in the old paradigm way of thinking, there's a certain structure in place that, okay, this is how you live your life, this is what you're supposed to do, this is what a credible person does, this is what a responsible person does. And then, when you want to have fun, that's what weekends are for, that's what vacation is for. But for the rest of the time, be responsible and do this. And I think people are starting to find out that they don't have to be separate from what you love. That you can actually do what you love to do as your career, as your job. And then all of a sudden it doesn't feel like work anymore. Every day is like play. and your quality of life jumps up 10 levels. And it's no longer like, oh, I can't wait for that week in July when I go to Aruba. It's like every day is a vacation. Every weekend is blissful. And it's not this sort of contrast between my practical life and my idealistic life. They can be one and the same.
That's so great, and that's so true. Because this is how the life that I started living, and really attracting my work as my passion, as my path, as my purpose. And you know, for people who are listening to this, it's scary to go there, but it's wonderful when it starts unfolding.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, just a quick story. When I was living in New York, I lived in New York for over 20 years. And, you know, my last 12 years there, I was working in advertising, making about $100,000 a year. Great job, great apartment, very unhappy. And when I chose to come out to San Francisco, it was after I came out for a wedding, and my friend asked me to sing a song on the top of Mount Tam, and I'm singing this song, and we're above the clouds, and just something magical happened, and the voice said, move to San Francisco. Now, of course, my rational brain said, are you out of your mind? You're 42 years old. You've never made a film. You don't have a job lined up. You know, you're leaving a very high-paying job. Are you crazy? My friends said the same thing. But there was something in my heart that knew, and I literally quit my job, moved out here immediately. I paid off all my debts back home, so I came out here with $300 in my pocket, and no promise of a job, and one friend that I had out here. But because I got out here and the way I just chose to look at everything, within a week, opportunities just started popping out of nowhere, because I actually said, it was me saying to the universe, I need to live my dream. I need to be true to what's in here. And the universe will always answer you with, great, glad you finally decided you know what you want. And here's the road. And I mean, I met the guys. They were the first guys I met when I got here.
Awesome.
So, you know, that affirmation about the film, wanting to make a meaningful film, and the universe just put them right in front of me. And, you know, so I got here 4 years ago with $300 in my pocket, and if there's any story of me being provided for, there's not one moment where I've had to worry about how I'm going to pay my rent.
So is there anything else you would like to share with our audience?
Sure. I mean, we're going to be touring the film for about 9 months, and we've done it all through social media. It's amazing. We've sold out almost every show. So if you're inspired by this story, and or you want to know more about the film, go to www.mayibefrankmovie.com, check out the trailer, and join our Facebook page, because our Facebook page is actually how we've grown this community. Become part of our family, help us spread the word, and if you want us to come and screen it in your town, just let us know, and we'll come and screen it.
That'll be great. Yeah, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, and this is Maya from the Worldwide Good News.